Welcome back, Pontiac High School students. This is lesson 3-4. We're looking at the members of Congress, or that is those people who actually represent us in Congress. Again, not individually here looking at the specific people, but more broadly speaking, who are these people? Well, your members in Congress are not these people, because these are the Rhode Island people. So don't worry about that so much. We'll talk about our representatives in class. But this does matter. The job. Members of Congress have lots of different jobs, the things that they actually have to do to fulfill their responsibilities as a representative or a senator. Sometimes these have conflicting aims. Sometimes they're expected to do one thing and another, and they can't really do both. So congressmen have to decide how they can best balance these roles in government. And there are really basically five things that I want to talk about in this lesson that define how congressmen act and who they're expected to be. The first one is, by many accounts, the most important. This is their constitutional responsibility. Their first job is to be a legislator. That means that they write laws. And as a member of the national legislature, as a member of Congress, this is what they do most often on a daily basis when they're in Washington, D.C. They are working on writing laws or on voting on laws, either in a committee or on the floor. They're working on creating these laws that can help govern our country. Another thing that they are is they are representatives. An elected member of our government, these congressmen, they're expected to represent the people who elected them. So they're expected to, in some way, reflect the will of the voters. So if the voters feel very strongly about an issue, the representative should be voting the way his constituents feel. Not all representatives do this on all issues. And certainly senators are a little bit more free to not feel like they have to act on the will of the people all the time. But to some degree, they have to do this, or they will not get to stay in Congress. Now, the different ways you can represent people are in these four different ways. Number one is a trustee. Okay, that is, you basically go out to the people of your district or your state and you say, this is who I am, these are my beliefs. We're not always going to agree on all issues, but you know me to be a good person and to have good judgment. So vote for me and I will do what is best for all of us. That's a trustee. A delegate is, you vote for me and I get elected, I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to ask you all kinds of questions. I'm going to stay really in tune with what you want. And when I find out that you want a particular issue, I will fight for it, regardless of my personal feelings. I will be your voice. That's a delegate. A partisan is somebody who has the interests of their political party in mind. So a Republican might say, I am a Republican. Vote for me because I'm a Republican, and I will do everything I can to advance the interests of the Republican Party nationwide. That's a partisan. So they will always vote with a majority of their political party and support their party issues. A politico is what really all of them are to some degree. Sometimes they're a trustee and they vote according to their beliefs. Sometimes they're a delegate and they'll go with what the people want, and sometimes they're a partisan. Politicos are what most members of Congress are and should be, because it takes into account all of those factors, which are important factors. Congressmen are also committee members. As a member of a committee, congressmen get to choose the proposals that will be voted on by the rest of Congress. This is probably, in terms of what they do in government, what occupies most of their time. Working on these committees is where laws are really written and where they really get tweaked and debated By the time one of these laws gets to the floor, that is, once it's out of a committee and the entire Senate or the entire House is voting on it, a lot of the debate has already been done. Now, if a proposed law is never voted out of committee, it never becomes law. It has to be passed through a committee first, and so congressmen, their role here is very important. Another thing that all congressmen are is they are servants. They are servants of their constituents, servants of the voters. Our government is democracy. It is popular sovereignty. And that means that the people rule, and we rule through these individuals. So congressmen have to work toward the interests of the people in their district or state. And these interests include a wide range of things, including transportation, jobs, taxes. All of those things have to be taken into consideration. And if between one election and the next, people don't feel that their life is getting better in some meaningful ways, well, then their congressman probably will not get reelected because they're not a very good servant to the constituents. Ways that this happen is congressmen get national money for local projects. We sometimes call this pork spending. This is the idea that a lot of national money goes into particular districts. And we can see that some congressmen are very good at this. We have John Murtha, this is 2008, so it's a while ago, but was able to get $192 million of federal spending in his district during his term. That's a huge chunk of money. So his district is going to be very appreciative of that. That brings a lot of money, a lot of jobs, a lot of improvements into his district. He did, for his constituents, he did a very good job. The rest of the country might not be happy in that we're spending so much money in a single district, but his constituents, they're very happy about that, and they would be very likely to re-elect John Murtha. All right. Politicians. Okay. Of course, all congressmen are politicians, and re-election isn't only important for each congressman, but also for like-minded politicians. See, congressmen will help other members of Congress, members of state legislatures, governors, even presidential candidates to win election, particularly if an individual is in a safe district, that is, they're a Democrat and they're in a district that always votes for the Democrat, then they don't need to spend a lot of time campaigning for themselves. And they might go out and campaign for other people. Maybe I'm a Democrat in a district that votes 80% Democrat. But in my state, there's another congressman who's a Democrat who's in a district that's 50-50. I spend a lot of time helping that Democrat get elected, and in return, he's going to help me pass the laws that I want to pass. This is being a politician. This is trading favors. This is trying to get the best interests of your district done all of the time by, whatever means you can, so long as they're within the law. So congressmen do this. They do this frequently to help others in their elections. All right, so that is members of Congress and the 5 things that they do. They are legislators, representatives, they are committee members, they are servants, and they are politicians. And that has been lesson 3-4. Thank you for joining me, and farewell.